My mom told me not to come home, and for years, I believed she meant it. The first time my mother said, "Don't come home," I laughed. I thought she was angry. I thought she'd cool down. She didn't. Years passed, and somehow I became the extra daughter, the quiet one, the what's that who didn't make waves while my sister asked the holidays. The praise, the attention. I spent Thanksgiving alone in my apartment staring at my phone, wondering what was wrong with me. But that night, something shifted. I stopped trying to be chosen. I stopped shrinking myself to fit into a space that didn't want me. And when my parents finally realized what they'd lost, they had to decide whether they were willing to earn a place in my life. That phone call came on the coldest morning of November. At 7:32 a.m., the light hadn't fully risen yet. The apartment window was blurry because of the grayness outside, and I, half asleep, noticed my phone vibrating at that strange hour. When Melanie had taken her first sip of coffee, but it hadn't yet settled in my system. When I looked at the screen, I saw the word Anna. At 7:32, your parents aren't calling. Not at all, especially if they haven't called in 2 years. I answered the phone because I was a coward. Cowardice sometimes disguises itself as curiosity, a feeling that compels you to ask questions. Maybe there was a crisis. Maybe my father was ill. Maybe the house had burned down. Maybe Melanie. My mother's voice was firm. I recognized that tone. At 27, having built my own life and working at a graphic design agency in Los Angeles, that voice still made me feel like a child. A scared, shrinking child. "Hello, Mom. You'll come for the Christmas holidays, won't you?" Pause. There was no flexibility in the question. "Mom, I haven't bought my ticket yet. It's a very busy period." I know what you're going to say. Always the same excuse, but this year is different. "You have to come." My heart raced. The word mandatory always unnerved me. "What's the problem? Is everything all right?" "Everything's fine. But Sarah will be here. She and her children. It will be the first time we'll all be together." Sarah, my sister, 4 years older, married, 2 kids, perfect life. For 4 years, she'd been sending my mother monthly video calls. Didn't I know her sister's children? Well, I didn't. But it wasn't a necessity. "Mom, I have vacation plans with Ryan." Ryan later. Family is more important. On the other side of the line, I felt my mother's questioning silence. Was she waiting? Was she waiting for us to say yes? "I'll text you," I said finally. "Melanie, answer me. Are you coming?" I couldn't say no. I never could. That towel-pulling stance, that tone of voice, I never said no. But I didn't exactly say yes either, though I structured my voice in a way he understood. Maybe. Maybe. I would come. Maybe. "Let's see, Mom." That's not enough. Be precise. But I couldn't say anything. I remained silent, cowardly. 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 9 seconds. My mother waited, hoping. Then, when she received the answer she hadn't wanted, her voice changed. "Okay, I understand." He didn't understand, but he acted as if he didn't. As he hung up, he said one word, "Say hello to Ryan," the way he pronounced his name so coldly. Well, it was as if Ryan's presence in my life disappointed him. After the phone call ended, I stood blankly in the kitchen. My coffee had gone cold. Outside, Los Angeles morning traffic had begun. Cars were piling on top of each other, trumpets were blaring. That sound didn't change anything. As a graphic designer, I was preoccupied with understanding color, space, and balance in life. But in my own life, there was no color in my life. Only missing spaces. No balance. Only one side always outweighed the other. I knew what my mother wanted. They were all so busy with their own lives, Sarah with the kids, my father with work, my mother trying to keep her sister occupied. Me? I always sat on the sidelines, quietly waiting without giving them what they wanted. 5 days after that phone call, Ryan came home. Ryan. We've been together for 3 years, and this was one of the best decisions I've ever made. He was a rare person. Rare because he never expected anyone else to make his choices. Never wanted to know what I was apologizing for. He just smiled when he looked at me. "Hey," he said after entering through the door. "Why'd that face?" My mother called. His eyes changed. They became a little dull. Ryan didn't like talking about my family. Maybe because it didn't sit well with him. Maybe because seeing that I had feelings for them made him think, what did he want? "I want you to come home for the Christmas holidays." Again, I quickly added the word. "Like I said, Sarah and her children are coming too." Ryan poured a glass of water in the kitchen. He took a long sip, slowly. "What do you want, Melanie?" I liked this question, but mostly I was afraid to answer it. Because when I answered, I sometimes realized that my own opinions would backfire. "I don't know." "Yes, you know. Don't you just want to tell me?" I looked out the window. As night fell, the lights began to come on. Los Angeles looked beautiful at night. It was a moment when reality changed, when pain vanished. "I don't want to go." Ryan suddenly stood close to me. He put his arm around my shoulder. His hands were warm. He always had warm hands. "Okay, then don't go. But they will feel lonely." "Melanie." She turned and faced me. "I know how they've treated you. For years. Yes, years. I count the years up to when I was 27, and as I count. The same feeling always came over me, a sense of incompleteness. No matter how hard I tried to make my mother happy, half of that happiness never reached me. Her gaze always went somewhere else. To Sarah, to the children, to my father. I don't remember him ever saying, "I choose you to meet," not even once. That night, when I slept next to Ryan, I enjoyed him holding me while we slept. But an hour later, I opened my eyes and was looking out the window at Los Angeles. And all I could think was, are Sarah's kids funny? Could I be funny too? The next day, my mother messaged again. This time it was in text. "Melanie, please reply. Are you coming for Christmas? Yes or no? Yes or no?" Those were always the two options in my life, but neither made me feel good. If I said yes, I was trapping myself. If I said no, I felt the devastation of regret when I remained silent. As a graphic designer, I maybe knew color, line, ambiguity, shades of gray. Life wasn't black and white, but I looked that way in my mother's eyes, black and white, her or me, mom or Ryan. 3 weeks later, on Christmas Eve, I packed my luggage. Ryan hadn't objected. He'd simply been helpful. That was the kind of person he was, instead of choosing someone else. He understood what they were determined to do and walked alongside them. "How many days?" he asked. 4 days. For a long time. "I know." "Melanie." She looked at me. There was that typical sorrowful expression in her eyes. "If you're not going to be happy, don't go." But I went because there was a touch I haven't forgotten. When I was a child or my father took me hunting in the yard, I remember my mother standing at the window and looking at me angrily. "Why is he going with him? But I don't have 2 children like you as a hobby." She didn't say it, but it was written on her face. Things left unsaid carry far greater weights than things that are said. I sat in a window seat on the plane and cried silently as we flew through the clouds. Nobody saw me. They were all preoccupied with their own movies. I could have done the same. A middle-aged woman sat next to me, a girl with a shepherd's fish in the back. They were all in their own world, just like my family. On Christmas morning, my parents' old house looked the same, again blue-painted wood. Red door, iron, railed veranda. It had been the same for 18 years. Even the lampshades hadn't been changed. Time seemed to have stopped in this house. When my mother opened the door, she pulled me inside. A hug for a second, then a push away. When I looked at her face, it hadn't changed at all. Her gray hair, her tired eyes, that typical stifled smile. "Welcome." "Hello, Mom." The house was exactly as I expected. A fire was burning in the fireplace. In the living room, Sarah's 2 children, Emma, 6, Lucas, 4, were running around, scattering toys. Sarah was preparing something in the kitchen. My father was sitting in the garden waiting for us to be called to cut carrots. Nobody said to me, "I'm glad you came." Nobody said, "We miss you." I was just there. The place where an extra chair was removed. The place where you designed an extra cup. Emma came running up to me. "Are you Melanie?" "Yes, I'm Melanie." "And you were Emma, right?" "Yes, my mother really wanted you here before she saw us. But come on, will she make me play with mines later?" The truth that came from that tiny mouth pierced my heart. "Yes, you wanted it. But just a few hours ago, you acted as if I didn't exist anywhere." I sat down at the dinner table, and just as I knew it, there was an empty plate. Sarah and her children were on her left, my mother and father at her head, and I was on her right. My sister looked up. "Melanie, I was wondering what you studied in university." Emma is wondering too. She already knew that, but she asked because Emma was there. She asked for Emma's sake. It wasn't her concern. "Design. Graphic design," I said quietly. "Ah, yes, that's right. He's not bad at his agency, is he?" "Quite good." "Great. I could do that too. But the kids." She turned her head to Lucas. "But I'm happier this way." There was a hidden message. I could do it, but what I did is more magnificent. My choice is more meaningful. No one talked about me at dinner. It was all about Sarah's job, to children's school, my father's illness. Everything was said. Superficially and not taken seriously. And the house repairs that kept my mother busy. Me? I stayed silent. I added a new client to the company. I entered a design competition and was a finalist. Ryan is spending the day with me. I was in a state of voiceless silence, but none of it seemed to indicate that I wanted to say anything. After dinner, I helped in the kitchen. I noticed something between Sarah and my mother. There was an understanding between the two sisters. From time to time, they would look at me and lower their voices. Then they would laugh. "What is Melanie doing?" I asked without saying a word. "Is she going to check on him?" My mother asked Sarah. "I think he's doing well. He's more open with Ryan. We always seem scary to him," Sarah said. Actually, I could have enjoyed the job, but the way it was said, it sounded like I was a risk management issue. A problem, one that needs to be dealt with immediately. That night, Christmas Day, my mother gave me her hand. A simple gift, a headscarf. It had a current design, but it was unappealing. The wrong colors. Poor weaving. "Did you like it?" "That's wonderful. Thank you, Anne." But I didn't like it. The necklace Ryan bought me was so much nicer. It was simple, elegant, and it knew me. But it was there, that's all. On Christmas morning, seeing my mother mostly filled me with fear. It was as if my presence was ruining her day. As if I were something bad. On the fourth and final day, I was doing the morning pack. Emma came and asked for the carpet twine. "Yes, of course." "Why are you leaving?" "Because I need to get back to work." "But I miss my mother," I said to Emma. My heart sank. What did he mean? He said, "I miss you when you're not here." Did my mother say this? Not to me, but to her sister's child? Before boarding the plane, I hugged my mother. Briefly, without warmth. She had nothing to say. Everything that needed to be said had already been said. When I got back to Los Angeles, Ryan came to pick me up at the door. With his warm arms. When I hugged him, I felt chosen for the first time. "How was it?" he asked. "It was empty." Melanie. "It was just empty. I was there, but I wasn't. Do you understand?" He understood, because he was listening to me. He couldn't see me. He was listening to me. That night, as I watched him, I made a decision. I would stop waiting, stop hoping. I would make my own decisions, build my own life, set my own table. No one could tell me don't come anymore. No one could silence me anymore. In fact, I might have chosen to leave if I was afraid of being excluded. That morning, the atmosphere was quieter than usual. The silence was noticed, but no meaning was attached to it. As the day progressed, small details began to attract attention. Schedules were changed. Plans were postponed. Explanations were kept brief. This brevity raised questions. Questions were not asked directly. Because they were not asked, no answers came. Uncertainty grew. Each new development reinforced previous suspicions. It was thought that the situation was temporary, but recurring behaviors indicated that it could be permanent. The decision-making process became more difficult, and the balance shifted unnoticed. January in Los Angeles is a month with no special features. It's not cold, it's not hot, it's just gray. The shadows are longer, the sun seems more sinister. At least, that's how it seemed to me when I voiced those words to Ryan that morning. I want to talk to them, I said. Ryan put down his coffee. Face to face? Yes, not over the phone. Face to face, clearly. Ryan slumped his shoulders. He was supportive, but he was afraid. He was afraid because he knew me so well. He knew I was usually a bad person when it came to expressing my own feelings, but this time I'm going to try to say things I'd said. I didn't want silence to be my punishment anymore. The following week, on a Monday at 7 p.m., I scheduled a video call. My mom, my dad, Sarah, everyone. I didn't warn any of them beforehand. I sat in front of the computer. My heart raced. My hands were covered in sweat. For some reason, I was doing this for the first time, talking to my family. Really talking. Not telling, but listening. Not asking, but giving. When the screen came on, they were all there. My mother was on the sofa in the living room. My father was next to her. And Sarah was in a different room, presumably to chat secretly after the children were asleep. Melanie, is everything all right? My mother asked. Bad news? Naturally, his first thought was something bad. Not joy, but worry. No, I just wanted to talk. Okay, said Sarah. Tell me. I pulled my hair back. I breathed in. I held my breath for 4 seconds, then spent 8 seconds doing it. That's what I learned about meditation from Ryan. When I came home for Christmas, I realized I was just a decorative element, like a candlestick on the table. I wasn't beautiful. I existed even though I served no purpose. Silence. Melanie, what are you saying? My mother said. We love you. Yes, I know. But the way you make love, it's not how you make love to me. It's not how you choose me. You never looked at me the way you chose Sarah or showed the same interest in her children. My father opened his mouth to speak, but closed it again as if he had nothing to say. Melanie, this is unfair, Sarah said. I wanted to be a part of your life. Yes, but you weren't my choice. I wanted to be chosen for you. I wanted to be chosen by your mother, by your father, just like you and your children. My mother started talking, that typical tone of voice ready to defend herself. But what she was going to talk about was just herself. Melanie, you were a rather sensitive child. You always are. We tried to meet your needs, but what? But Sarah's needs were more important? But you made this decision, not me? We always protected you, my father said. His voice was cracked. It's rare. No, Dad, you protected me. It's a different thing. It wasn't a case of you don't want to deal with me because I won't cause trouble. It's just you didn't see me. You didn't use me. Sarah wanted to say something else, but I waited for my mother. My mother, the real center of the family. I could see she was searching for words she shouldn't have. I love you, Melanie, he finally said. But perhaps the way I love you is wrong. I'm a bit lost in my own life, too. This felt like an opening for the first time, but it was too late. Mom, this isn't your problem. I'm not here, so your emotions can start charging my therapists. I could be here to be a little sweet, just a little. My mother's eyes welled up with tears on the phone screen. It was the first time I'd ever seen her cry. But I knew she wasn't crying for me. She was crying for herself. What do you want him to do? My mother asked. I want to tell you something, I said, and it will hurt you, but I have to, because staying silent is destroying me. They all waited. I'm exhausted from being in this family, because no one calls me, because no one wants to see me. I wished I could be chosen by all of you. By all of you. Except for Ryan, no one chose me. And one, at 27. Don't want to expect that from the people who made the choices. What are you saying? My mother said. She panicked. What do you mean, losing you? We still love you. Yes, but your love is conditional. Only on the condition of silence. Only on the condition of not asking questions. only on the condition of not making commitments. I can't be here. I've built something else for myself, another life, and if you need to be here, it has to be in a different way. Sarah spoke. What do you mean? Are you going to send us a message? What I mean is, before I talk to you, I want to set the rules. If you want to communicate with me, if you want to see the living person I am, you have to listen to me. Just sit down and accept the facts. No excuses, no defenses, just me. When I finished speaking, the silence grew so heavy it seemed as if it would almost leap off the screen. If you can't do that, I continued, then I have to go and build a life for myself, with other people, with the people who chose me. My father cried. He really cried. It was the first time I'd ever seen him cry. I made a mistake, he said. I wasn't close enough to you. I know. Is it too late? I don't know, Dad. I can't know. But you should be here. You should show some interest. Call every month. Ask about my life. Only later, after Sarah, equally. The phone call ended. I turned off the screen. With trembling hands, I went to Ryan. He put his arms around me. He didn't say anything. He just held me. The next 2 weeks were quiet. My mother, my father, Sarah, none of them wrote. None of them called. For the first time, it felt light instead of heavy. It felt like a relief. Then one day, the mail arrived. A letter, handwritten, my mother's handwriting. I couldn't open it. It lay on the table for 3 days. Ryan warned me, but he showed patience by telling me not to read it. On the 4th day, while having a morning coffee, I got hungry. Dear Melanie, I often found writing difficult. Speaking was easier, but this time, saying it is a huge undertaking. I must write it. My father and I talked. We talked a lot. We sat for nights on end and we understood what you had been through. All those years, without any support. We were so saddened. I've never been so sad in my life. I don't mean to say I'm a bad mother, but I was an incomplete mother. You were an incomplete father. We chose Sarah. We chose to focus on her. Maybe because she brought us joy. She didn't ask questions. Maybe because you were a burden. Maybe because I was too busy in my own life to see our own sadness. To see your sadness. I won't ask for forgiveness, because I know I don't deserve it. But I say this not because it's not enough, but to be different. If you want, we can start over. Slowly, carefully, at your pace. My father wants to write too, but he's afraid. That's what he said. He's afraid you won't forgive him. Maybe he's right. But if I may say something, he loves you very much. He loved you. He just didn't know how to show it. You don't need to call me if you don't want to. But I want to see you. Not here, maybe, in Los Angeles. I want to see you in your life. With Ryan, too. He's a good guy, Melanie. Are you keeping him? I love you, Mom. After reading it, I cried, but this time, it was different. The previous crying, the crying of silence, the crying of not being chosen was terrible crying. But this crying felt like a beginning, perhaps. Ryan came home. I had him read the letter. When he finished reading, he hugged me. What are you going to do? He asked. I don't know. Yet, a week later, I made a difficult decision. I spoke to my mother on the phone. It was brief. I received your letter. Thank you, Melanie. Mom, I'm not ready to talk about it right now. But maybe you could come to LA in March? You and Dad? For a weekend? My mother gasped. Yes, of course. I'd love to. After hanging up the phone, I held Ryan's hand. This wasn't healing. Healing is about closing wounds. But this was about removing the wound, letting it breathe, cleaning it slowly, painfully. But perhaps healing began with speaking up rather than remaining silent. At the end of January, I had a project on the server. A new client, a cafeteria chain. I had to give them a logo, colors, and design identity. It was a small job, but quite important to me because it was something I had chosen from the beginning. My manager at the design agency, Catherine, came to my office. She was 45, twice divorced, and had a cat. There was something about her, a person who took her own life seriously. She never seemed to be affected by anyone else's decisions. These designs are fantastic, he said. He looked at the logos, the color palette. The icons. Your best work. Thank you. What's changed in you? You seem more relaxed. The problem was as simple as my question. I started expressing my own opinions without asking anyone. Catherine smiled. A sincere smile. It's a very difficult job. People always want approval, especially from their family. I looked at her. Have you experienced this too? A lot. When I divorced against my mother's wishes. She said to him, "Did you divorce to ruin your life?" "No," I said. "I divorced to save my life." He never understood. He still doesn't understand, but I don't try to explain it to him anymore. After I said that, Catherine's expression changed. It was as if I, too, had transformed into someone in the middle of a similar journey. "Melanie, you're building your life up too, aren't you?" "Yes, in its own way." "Good." That's a good thing. After Catherine left, I sat at my computer and noticed something for the first time. The thought of her receiving a message from my family didn't scare me. For the first time, not hearing from them didn't sadden me either. It just existed, not like something she had to do. It just existed in mid-February. Ryan brought it up with me. We were having dinner at home. On a normal Monday night, "Will you marry me?" He said. I put down my fork. "No." "Yes." "No." Because I know you don't expect this from other people anymore. You're confident, you know who you are, and I want to be by your side. Behind all of this, yes, I said. But I said that the choice should be ours without asking anyone. Two of us would decide, and I like that. Ryan, and for the first time I thought, maybe my family wasn't real family. Maybe family was the people I chose. On the last day of February, I sat in a park near the Los Angeles Sea. Ryan was beside me, holding hands. The sea wasn't blue that day, it was gray. But that gray felt like peace. My phone rang. It was my dad. The first time he called her, he didn't ask for anything else. Just, "Hello, how are you?" "I'm fine, Dad. How are you?" "Okay." I was just thinking, I'd like to see your designs. At your office, maybe you can come during the March break. "Yes, Dad, you can come in March." When he hung up the phone, I hugged Ryan. Talking to my father felt normal, seamless, clear for the first time. That night, I told Ryan I'm going to marry Conago, but only with us, without any family. "All right," he said. "That's what I want too." So Ryan and I started planning a wedding just for ourselves. No obligations, no compromises. Just us, the choice when March arrived. My mother and father came to LA. I met them at the airport. The governor and his entourage got off the plane, looking a little excited, a little scared, just like they were meeting a foreigner for the first time. I checked them into the hotel. I hadn't even had a chance to meet Ryan yet. He was our first date. We sat in the lobby. We drank tea. My mother looked at me as if she were seeing me for the first time. "You look beautiful," he said. "Thank you. I want to see the designs. I also want to meet Ryan." My mother, father, and I went to the office. Ryan was waiting for me. After we met, I took my mother to see my designs. As I showed her the logos, icons, and designs, my mother's expression changed. Her eyes welled up with tears. But this time, it wasn't an uncomforting cry. Her eyes, perhaps for the first time, saw what I had done, the life I had lived. "These are beautiful," he said. "You're very talented." "Thank you, Mom." My father stood beside me and slowly lifted my hand and took it. He said nothing. He just looked. At the end of that weekend, my mom and dad left. But before they left, I sat at the table. My mom and dad. Me and Ryan. No Sarah, no kids. Just the four of us, establishing a new ritual. "After March, could we meet like this once a month?" I asked. "Yes," my mother said. "Yes, I want to." And this was just the beginning. The first change manifested in a behavior. This behavior seemed ordinary. However, similar behaviors followed. Inconsistencies began to increase. Schedules didn't match. What was said didn't match what was done. This discrepancy was initially ignored, but as it recurred, it gained importance. Communication became more cautious. Words were chosen carefully. This disrupted the natural flow. The tension wasn't explicitly expressed, but it was felt in the environment. This perceived change affected trust and became the determining factor in the direction of the process. When Maya arrived, the wedding was 6 weeks away. Monica, the wedding planner, asked me, "Who are the bride's parents?" I couldn't answer. Nobody stopped. They were just there, like an empty chair. To Catherine, "Would you like to stand next to me at my wedding?" Her eyes were sparkling. Yes. When my mother called, her voice changed. For the first time, she said she wanted me to walk in her wedding. But I said no. It wasn't what I wanted to hear. "Mom, I want to stand on my own 2 feet." But later, "You can be by my side," my mother cried. But this time, I didn't cry either. In July in the botanical garden, with 150 people watching, I walked to the altar with Catherine's arm around me. No one questioned it. It just happened. Ryan was waiting for me at the altar. His eyes shone. "Melanie, I choose you," he said. "You're only mine, without conditions." "I choose you," I said, "because you, first of all, chose me." At the reception, my mother, father, Sarah, their children, Catherine, they all sat at one table. When I looked at my mother for the first time, there was pride in her eyes, completely for me. Late in the evening, Ryan and I went to the back corner of the garden. Ryan asked, "I am grateful for the election, for having the chance to choose myself rather than someone else choosing for me." Ryan kissed me. In December, my mother posted a picture on social media of my wedding. With Catherine, the caption read, "To my daughter, people who come to stand by your income can never be more important than your family." Maybe I understood this early, maybe late, but now I am proud. Yours. Not that you should ever lack a family, just that you are yours, that you have built your own life. Sarah commented, "Brother, I love you." My father cried. My mother hugged him. In September, Emma was born, just like a girl born into a chosen family. In the hospital, my mother came to me. "I loved you so much," she said. "Maybe late, but please forgive me." "I forgive you, Mom," I said. Catherine, she held Emma. It was like a maternal gesture. 5 years later, Emma sang at school. My mother listened to it via video and cried. The right way, in a healing way. Yes, my families aren't interruptions, but they are choices made. Perhaps this has become the best family we all have.